Good morning. This is your CDT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. TNTech is explaining that a countrywide voltage dip on Tuesday night is associated with adverse weather conditions. They say around 9:15 p.m. flash of lightning over central Trinidad triggered a sudden voltage dip across parts of the country. Two power circuits briefly shut down, but within moments, TNTech's automatic systems restored them, preventing any outage to homes. Though some customers felt the disturbance, the national grid stayed stable. TNTech says it's closely monitoring conditions and continues working to keep electricity reliable, offering apologies for any inconvenience. And in more news, the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce has described the Tobago House of Assembly's $4.12 billion budget as a light at the end of the tunnel. According to its chairman, Curtis Williams, the proposal represents a hopeful first step toward revitalizing Tobago's economy.
Our hopes were dwindling, and now we see some kind of I think the secretary, through her delivery of this budget, I see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
The budget was delivered within the context of a broader 20-year development strategy called the Blueprint for Tobago, which has already received the Chamber's endorsement.
We read the blueprint, we understand the blueprint as a chamber, and we are willing to work with the Assembly within the blueprint.
However, Mr. Williams cautions that the real challenge lies in effective implementation. In other news, a modernized justice approach that treats drug use as a public health matter rather than a criminal offense is being introduced locally. This was revealed by Minister of Justice Devesh Maharaj during Tuesday's presentation of the toolkit and the initial launch of the dissuasion commissions. These commissions are designed to steer first-time offenders involved in minor drug-related offenses away from the criminal justice system and toward health-focused treatment and support programs. Minister Maharaj said the needs of the victim, the offender, and the community will be taken into account via a process which aims to preserve the safety of all. He offered this explanation as he revealed that Cabinet recently authorized the establishment of a Dissuasion Commission committee. Minister Maharaj noted that the proposal is supported by the recent passage of the Parole Act 2026, the Victims' Rights Act, and amendments to the Probation Offenders Act.
This approval reflects the significant work already undertaken by our local and international partners. We must now move into the next phase of implementation. The discussions at this workshop are critical to ensuring that the framework is practical, effective, and aligned with the realities of Trinidad and Tobago.
The minister said Trinidad and Tobago now has the data needed to justify the introduction of the Dissuasion Commission.
Between 2015 and 2024, our nation recorded over 28,900 arrests for drug-related matters. A significant proportion of these were the possession of cannabis and cocaine. Furthermore, between 2015 and 2023, nearly 4,500 citizens were incarcerated for these non-violent offenses.
In sport, after a flawless start in their opening 3 matches of the ICC T20 Women's World Cup, the West Indies, who sit second in Group 2, look to secure their spot in the semi-finals with a victory later today when they face off against tournament hosts England. Ahead of the match, carded to begin at 1:30 TT time, bowler Karishma Ramarak stated that the fixture held at the Lord's Cricket Ground will be a massive occasion for her team.
It's going to be a really big game. I think, what we could do is control what we can do as a team, plan well, prepare well, and, just on the day execute as best as we can. But of course, we're looking forward to, the atmosphere, playing at Lord's. It's going to be a huge thing for the West Indies women.
And that's what's making the news this morning. But joining us right now is Virmala Balkaran, the host of Trinidad and Tobago Today. Good morning, Virmala.
Good morning, Carrie. How are you today? Happy
I am quite good
Wednesday,
today.
Middle of the week.
It is Wednesday. Midweek, we we're making it.
Yeah, we got some midweek
Quickly.
rain as well. Oh my goodness, what was that
yeah.
last night?
A lot of rain last night. I mean, like it's nice hearing the pitter patter on the rooftops. It it helps lull people to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know if it helped everybody, but for
It
some
didn't help
people it's a
me.
relaxing sound. Really?
I didn't sleep a wink. I was up all night for some reason.
But why is that?
I have no idea. I guess just anxiety, knowing that I have to wake up very early, and I was afraid that I would miss my alarm, and I don't think I slept very much. Also, there was some serious thunder last night, so if you were hearing
there
that,
was.
it was a little bit scary. So
Yeah, so there was
hopefully
a tropical wave that passed through last night, So we woke up, so still the roads are wet. We're still getting some drizzle in some areas. And I don't know if there's outright rain, but at least on my way to work this morning, there was still a little precipitation.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully people will be very safe on the nation's roads. I think the rain is continuing today. I have to tell you though, I woke up yesterday and my nose felt like it was burning from the inside, and I just felt awful. And then I realized there's a high concentration of Saharan dust in
Yes,
the atmosphere.
that's right. And the Met Service is also advising that the concentrations will increase a little bit later between this evening and tomorrow, Thursday.
Yeah, so it was absolutely hard for me this morning. I took
I'm really
some
sorry.
allergy meds, and
I'll bring up
pushing...
Powerman for you, I'll tell you.
Listen, I am pushing on this morning. And of course, we have another packed show for you today. I know you've been looking at what's happening in the UK with the resignation of Keir Starmer. So that's something we'll be chasing after today as well, just after the break with political scientist Professor Hamid Ghani. So you don't want to miss that. Of course, we link up with Talk City today and so much more.
All right, looking forward to it as usual, Virmala.
All right, Carrie, talk soon.
All right, we will. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
When we come back, the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show gets going right after this short break.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
Being connected, it means a lot because, first of all, you can't do this by yourself.
When you have your phone, you always have somebody at your side. I could call for help, anything going like,
You know, I'm giving children the opportunity to experience outside of their neighborhood.
Digital is kind of a comfort, you feel good that people in your lives are always able to be contacted.
I was with the other network and I was having problems, so I joined Digicel and I never regretted it.
There are a number of risk factors for heart disease, so a lot of attention has to be put towards preventive cardiology. What can we do to reduce the burden due to all these risk factors? Hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, need to stop cigarette smoking, you gotta get people exercising.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
If you miss any part of this show, sucks to be you. It's about that time. Hi, I'm Penny Gomez, and welcome to Pop. It's Wendy Fitzwilliams. Welcome to Pop. Oh my God, what majesty.
I'm new to Penny on point.
Peter Alliance. You don't know, guys, what it took to get him here. Sorry, stop. Food up. Food on.
I like. Can we speak Penny?
Sure. Whoa, I feel as if having both of you in here is just like atomic energy. All right. Yeah. Don't come up in here and change the rules of the competition.
Penny, block your ears a minute.
Okay.
She gave us limited input. I just banned all the trophy in people show. big belly man do an award.
You are both crazy. That's what this is determined. I feel as if we need like 2 episodes of Pop to get through with these two.
Family were calling, so what did show them when I was doing? Right temperature.
If I had papers, I'll just throw it all up and just let the show go to the dogs. I am just putting out a disclaimer there for whatever happens. I'm not responsible. Penny exits. penny on point.
And Peter Poppin.
And Peter Poppin. Eyelashes.
Yeah.
There. All right.
Wednesday, 23rd June 2026. The time now, it is 6:10 a.m. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the world. I'm Virmala Balkaran, and welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today. Well, I want to ask you a little earlier this morning to grab your cup of coffee and settle in, as we're going straight into our first interview this morning. So a lot happening, and we can't wait to debunk all of it with you. But first, let's take a look now at what's trending this morning. Well, police are investigating a burglary at the home of Chief of Defense Staff Don Polo. Now, reports indicate that the incident occurred last Friday at his St. Clair residence, where items including bottles of wine were reportedly taken from a bar area on the property. Investigators believe entry and exit were gained by scaling a western wall. The investigations continue as Trinidad and Tobago remains under a state of emergency. And were you up after 9 p.m. last evening, and did you experience a brief power dip? Well, TNTech is saying that the temporary disruption was caused by a significant voltage dip linked to a lightning activity across central Trinidad. The utility says 2 circuits tripped but were automatically restored, and the national electricity grid remains stable. And the Met Office is also saying that a tropical wave brought scattered showers and thunderstorms across the country. Well, 2 people had to be taken for assessment after a tree fell onto a vehicle at the Port of Spain General Hospital. Now, according to the NWRHA, the 2 occupants, an adult male and a young female, were seated in the car when the tree fell in the visitors' car park. They were safely removed and are in stable condition with no major injuries reported. Now, the NWRHA says support was provided to the affected vehicle owners, and once cleared by the emergency agencies and relevant authorities, further checks are planned to identify and address any potential risks across the hospital compound. I also do apologize. I did say it was the 23rd. It is actually the 24th of June today. For some reason, we've lost track of time. Now, I came across an article recently that said something quite revealing, and I want to share that with you before we head into our first interview. Many people feel more listened to by AI than the people around them. Well, not because a machine cares more, but because it listens without interrupting, judging, or immediately trying to solve the problem. And maybe, just maybe, that's a lesson for us all this morning. We spend so much time preparing our response that we forget to hear what someone is actually saying. And sometimes people don't need advice. They don't need us to fix anything. They simply need to feel heard. And in a world where everyone wants a voice, perhaps one of the greatest gifts that we can give each other is our attention. Well, jumping straight into today's show as promised, have you been following the political developments in the United Kingdom? Well, political scientist Professor Hamid Ghani joins us now to examine the political shakeup following the resignation of the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the factors behind the Labour's decline, and the future of British politics, and what lessons can be drawn from the Westminster system. Good morning, Professor Ghani.
Good morning.
How are you this morning on the 24th, not the 23rd? For some reason, I lost track of time. How are you this morning?
Very well, thanks. Very well, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here with us. Now, please bring us up to speed. Tell us what exactly is happening in the United Kingdom following Keir Starmer's resignation.
Yes, well, this has been quite an event because it forms part of a trend that has emerged over the last 10 years in the Westminster model in the United Kingdom. The Westminster model has long been described as the gold standard for governance and so on, particularly in our region where, we've tended to copy many aspects of it in our constitutions across the Commonwealth Caribbean. But a trend has emerged over the last 10 years where Britain is now going to be appointing its 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. And this is quite disconcerting that there's an element of political instability that is emerging. And there are many factors that can contribute to it. But one of the things that we're looking at is that, Sir Keir Starmer announced on Monday that he was stepping down as leader of the Labour Party and then going to step down as Prime Minister once the Labour Party had chosen a successor to him. So that the convention has emerged in the United Kingdom over the years because they have an unwritten constitution. There's no written constitution. So a lot of this is done by convention and tradition, that the leader of the party that has a majority in the House of Commons will become the Prime Minister. So just to give a short synopsis of how we got here, in 2015, David Cameron and the Conservative Party won a majority. And Cameron was reappointed Prime Minister because he had been in a coalition government just prior to that. And in 2016, he resigned because he had backed in the Brexit referendum, he had backed the Remain in the referendum, and the referendum voted to leave, so that there was a vote to leave the European Union. So he resigned because he could not support the leave part of the referendum. And Theresa May, after a process of initiating a party internal election, became the Prime Minister. She subsequently called a general election, and the Conservatives lost their majority but did not lose the election. There was no overall control. And she formed an alliance with the Democratic Unionist Party in Northern Ireland and got seats there. So she was able to hang on. But by 2019, the MPs had turned against her, and she was out. And you had Boris Johnson taking over after a party election. And then by 2022, Boris Johnson was gone because of scandals associated with the COVID lockdowns and parties in Downing Street and things that he had said that were not necessarily true. So he was gone by 2022. The Conservatives had another internal election for leader, and they chose Liz Truss. She lasted about 49 days or thereabout, the internal party and fighting and so on, and she resigned. Another leadership election was called, but Rishi Sunak was unopposed, so he became the Prime Minister, went for 2 years, and they called a general election in 2024, which he lost. And Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour Party came in with a massive majority. And 2 years after that massive majority, he had become so unpopular that the MPs turned against him after they lost a number of elections, local government elections, elections for the Assembly in Wales, and so on. So here we are today, 2 years after his massive majority, he's gone. And now they're talking about another leadership election in the party. So it has been quite the ride in the UK between 2016 and 2026. We're going to be on to the 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. Quite a story for a system that had been put forward as a gold standard for political stability.
Yeah, Professor, now, as you said, it's less than 2 years since that landslide victory, and that is absolutely significant. I mean, there were some serious major factors contributing to his downfall. I want to talk a little bit about that, if you can expand on those. I know you briefly touched them, but what were the major factors, in your opinion, that really contributed to the Labour's decline in popularity as well?
Yeah, well, I think that 3 weeks into the new government, the new term in July, they won on the 4th of July, and 3 weeks into the term of office, they announced that the winter fuel subsidies, for pensioners and so on, was going to be withdrawn. I mean, that was an unforced error. It caused a large amount of controversy in the public domain. The party had suddenly made an error that it really didn't need to make. And I think it started to spiral from there. Then he had problems with appointing a chief of staff. And the person he had in mind was, Sue Gray, who had been chosen to be his chief of staff. And there were all kinds of activities going on in Downing Street, and civil servants sort of, not in favor of it and what have you. And that led to her resigning. And then you had, I think, the big issue that really hurt his government was his nomination of Lord Peter Mandelson to become the ambassador to Washington. And it has now emerged that there were all kinds of cutting of corners in terms of how the security vetting was to take place. And then his identification with the Epstein files, and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein became hugely embarrassing for the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister really went out on a limb to have Mandelson brought in. And I think that really hurt him terribly. And then the local government election results in May, the 7th of May, where the Labour Party lost massively across Britain. I think that also hurt him. And then this by-election, in this constituency in Manchester, was one in which Andy Burnham, who was the mayor of Manchester, won the by-election, but there was talk around already that if he won it, he'd be a likely person to become prime minister. It's quite unusual for someone to just win a by-election and then get the keys to Downing Street and just walk in the door subsequently as prime minister. But it appears as though that's what's going to happen.
Now, Professor, I want to talk a little bit about the rise of the parties like the Reform UK and the Green Party. Now, what does that tell us right now about the changing voter behavior in Britain?
Yes, well, what has emerged now, the traditional two-party system, where you had the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, and power rotated between the two of them, that has been changed up now, because there are many more parties that have emerged. The Reform UK has emerged within the last 5 years or so as a major party on the right of British politics, competing with the Conservatives. And there has been that contestation between them. And then on the left, the Green Party has also risen, and they won a by-election before this last one. So that they have been on the rise. So on the left of British politics, you have these other parties that have come up, and on the right of British politics, so you have the Greens on the left and the Reform on the right. And that, of course, has made the political situation quite interesting and varied. But what it also does, but with a first past the post system, you may not necessarily get an exact replica of what the electorate may want in terms of how the seats get distributed, because you have a lot of split voting that does impact on the outcome. And that, of course, is something that does have an impact on Westminster, so that you have a sort of multi-party environment where, yes, the Labour Party does have a commanding majority, but inside of the Labour Party, there have been fractures in respect of how Sir Keir Starmer was viewed. And to go from that massive majority in July of 2024 to now, resigning on the eve of the 2-year anniversary of that massive landslide is quite an amazing phenomenon, and the rise of reform. And I think the immigration issue in the UK, of course, has played a large part in raising the temperature politically. And then, of course, you have this issue with regard to North Sea oil and the whole issue of the climate curtailment lobby, the raising of taxes, revenues from the North Sea, of course, not what they used to be, and there are a number of cross currents going on in British politics right now. And Andy Burnham himself, who is likely to become the new prime minister, if no one else stands for election in the Labour internal election, he will be unopposed. Of course, if there is a contest to choose the new leader of the Labour Party, they'll go through the motions and have an election, and whoever wins that election then becomes the prime minister based on the conventions, and the king will send for that person. Sir Keir Starmer has already informed the king that he intends to resign once the Labour Party has a new leader. So the issue is the connection between party leadership and premiership. That's the connection.
Now, Professor, bringing it back home for a bit, Trinidad and Tobago inherited much of our political system from Britain. So now, how does the UK's experience really help us better understand the Westminster model of government?
Well, we don't have an exact replica. We have what we might call a Westminster Whitehall model, in the sense that, the civil service is in Whitehall, and many of the constitutions of the former colonies have been sort of cut and paste jobs in their constitutions, inspired by the Colonial Office. And over the years, that has emerged. So Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago were the first two Caribbean countries of the former British Empire to become independent. and the constitutions that were created at independence have been replicated in the other 10 independent countries in the Commonwealth Caribbean after the first two. There are 12 of them. And the constitutions are pretty close to one another. They tend not to deviate too much from one another in terms of how the prime minister is appointed and the cabinet and so on. But I think one of the things that we have by having a written constitution, it does allow, in some instances, a slightly different approach, and in others, an attempt to replicate what happens at Westminster. So we had a situation in 2025 in Trinidad and Tobago where there was an attempt to hand over power within the government, and Dr. Rowley resigned as prime minister, but did not resign as leader of the party, which is not what has happened in the UK. So that's the variation right there. And because the constitution has a peculiar set of wording, the primary methodology is that the leader of the party in the House of Representatives would become the prime minister. And because he was not resigning as leader of the party, but only resigning as prime minister, a vacancy arose. Now, the constitution does make provision where you have no undisputed leader, that you can appoint someone else as prime minister. There was some controversy around this in March of 2025, February, March of 2025, a lot of public discourse on whether or not Stuart Young could have been appointed prime minister while not being leader of the party. So it was a unique set of circumstances that had been created by Dr. Rowley's resignation as prime minister, but not as political leader of the PNM. And Stuart Young was appointed. And one of the first things he did was to call a general election the day after he was appointed, an election which he lost. And Kamla Prasad-Bissessar won a majority, and she was appointed under the same section of the Constitution that Stuart Young had been appointed, even though Stuart Young was not leader of the PNM, and she was leader of the UNC. So it was a bit of curious circumstances where the two appointments did not mirror each other by the circumstances. But the essential British convention that has been written into our Constitution is that the leader of the party with a majority will be appointed the prime minister. That's basically the story. And we had a very curious kind of deviation where Dr. Rowley only resigned as prime minister, but not as political leader, so that there was no vacancy in the party for a political leader. And he created a vacancy for prime minister. And that basically was an attempt on his part to vacate the office of prime minister, but not vacate the office of political leader.
Now, Professor Ghani, what lessons can democracies like Trinidad and Tobago really learn from the political developments that are currently taking place in the United Kingdom?
Well, I think the issue of the role of the party in politics is something that has risen over the last 3 or 4 decades. We've seen the growth of the political party, because in the United Kingdom, there wasn't this kind of formal party recognition. That tended to come going into the 70s and the 80s and so on. And you had, for example, when Margaret Thatcher stepped down in 1990, she'd been prime minister since 1979, but when she stepped down in 1990, she failed to secure a majority in the first round of voting within the Conservative Party for leadership. And she had a decision to make as whether to enter her name in the second round, because she didn't get to the required threshold to be declared the winner. And she then made the decision that she was not going to enter the second round of voting for leadership of the party. And that effectively meant that she was giving up the prime ministership. And John Major went on to become leader of the Conservative Party, and then he became prime minister in 1990. In 1992, when he faced a general election, he won a majority in his own right, and he became prime minister in 1992. And he served until 1997, when he lost the general election, and Tony Blair came in, and Labour took over in 1997. So the link between leadership of the political party and the prime ministership is perhaps the critical thing. But I think the emergence of internal party elections for leaders of parties, we've seen it in Labour and Conservative, and it goes on in the UK, and that has filtered down, because our own political parties have also moved in the direction of having mass elections among their membership to choose a leader of a political party. So we've seen it in the UNC, we've seen it, the PNM has adopted that methodology, the Congress of the People had done it, and many other parties have adopted this kind of methodology where you allow your membership the right to vote in internal elections for leader of the party. So the link between leader of the party and the prime ministership is what has emerged.
Now, in your professional opinion, Professor, does this situation demonstrate that, modern voters are really becoming less loyal to traditional political parties? And do you believe they're more willing now, I would say, to seek alternatives?
Well, I think that the environment has become a little more diverse, primarily because of the rise of social media. Social media did not have the kind of impact in politics that you had, more than a decade ago. I would say within the last decade, the rise of social media has certainly changed the political landscape. And social media is used and abused in a number of ways. And it's one of those things that is impacting on the politics, because you're now getting instant, real-time reality situations, so that in the old days, before you could make the morning's papers with the news, you waited overnight to see what was being said, and then you read the papers the next morning and the editorial and all these other things. That was the traditional old-fashioned way. What you get now is instant news. I mean, people are newsmakers. They have it in their hands, on the telephone and whatever, their mobile phones, and Facebook and X and TikTok and all of these other tools are available to your average citizen who becomes a newsmaker. And the news is out there, and it has changed the way in which I think we handle news, and that has impacted on the political arena. So now politics has responded to the rise of social media, I think, over the last decade, and we've seen it around the world. It's a new environment. So voters have things to respond to. The critical thing is the electoral system. What happens with voters? And the way in which they choose. We have not changed from the first past the post model. The only proportional representation we have introduced is for aldermen in local government, where we take the votes from first past the post and allocate seats in local government in proportion to those votes that have been cast. And that's the only thing that we've done. But other than that, the first past the post system does produce its own quirks and its own outcomes, based on the fact that split voting can see someone being elected with less than 50% of the votes in a constituency.
Well, Professor, before we go, if there's one lesson from this Starmer experience, what would it be for all governments and political parties? What should they take away from all of this?
Keep your promises. When you make promises to the electorate in a manifesto, make sure that you stick to the promises. What had happened in the UK is that there were many cutaways from the Labour Party manifesto and commitments that were made and announcements that were made that were not kept, and promises that were made that were not kept. And I think that, there were too many U-turns. The Prime Minister changed his mind too many times. There were lots of things that, Labour, said in the manifesto they weren't going to raise taxes, and they raised taxes. I mean, when you break manifesto promises, I think there's a problem. And that is some of what I think happened in the UK. But keep your promises. That's the bottom line.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Hamid Ghani, this morning. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right. All the time now, just about 6:33 in Trinidad and Tobago. Hope you've been having a great morning. Just to recap, having that discussion with political scientist Dr. Hamid Ghani about Keir Starmer's resignation that's coming less than 2 years after leading the Labour to a landslide victory in 2024. Definitely something that we're keeping our eyes on, and we'll keep you updated on as well. We take a break. There's more ahead.
Ready to brighten your space the right way? Don't settle for the ordinary. Step into brilliance. At Trinity Lighting Etc. Limited, we bring you over 20 years of experience in bulbs, specialty lighting, and hard-to-find lighting parts. Not sure what you need? Our knowledgeable team is ready to guide you, whether it's for your home, medical, commercial, marine, or business. We deliver quality you can trust at prices you love. Visit us today at 123 Western Main Road, St. James, or call us at 628-8373 or WhatsApp at 461-8620. Check us out on email at trinityetc@yahoo.com. Trinity Lighting Etc. Limited. We light up your life.
Being connected, it means a lot because, first of all, you can't do this by yourself.
When you have your phone, you always have somebody at your side. I could call for help, anything going like,
You know, I'm giving children the opportunity to experience outside of their neighborhood.
Digital is kind of a comfort, you feel good that people in your lives are always able to be contacted.
I was with the other network and I was having problems, so I joined Digicel. And I never regretted it.
Since 1972, one sound has been living in the heart of Trinidad and Tobago, the longest running radio station in the nation.
We're your holiday soundtrack, whether it's on your day off, long drives, or house limes. We are always sweet.
This is music with meaning, music with memories.
Music that feels like home.
And it's not just the songs, it's the voices you trust, personalities you've grown with.
Laughter that sounds familiar. This isn't just radio, it's tradition. It's memories. It's part of who we are.
Sweet 100.1 FM, the rhythm of our identity, part of your family.
Always 100, guide you on your way. Sweet 100, sweet 100.
My mind's so consumed with pain.
You're fired.
I need this job, man.
You need help.
I have other concerns for tenants who actually pay.
So how can I help?
I need a room. I got $40.
That's not enough. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's me. You okay? I need your help.
U.S. Navy SEAL personnel are currently in Trinidad and Tobago as part of an expanded security partnership aimed at strengthening the country's fight against crime. Well, Prime Minister Kamla Prasad-Bisesa says the advanced team is preparing for a larger deployment which will support the Defense Force and Coast Guard through training, intelligence sharing, border protection, and of course, drug interdiction efforts. Now, she also revealed that additional U.S. vessels are expected to arrive in the coming months to boost maritime security. And as we continue to acknowledge, educate, and celebrate men throughout the month of June, we bring you more health tips from psychiatrist and general practitioner Dr. Virmala Balkaran. Well, here's today's message, and it's a focus on healthy habits. Healthy men are built on healthy habits. Get enough rest, stay active, maintain strong connections, and of course, live with purpose. Small daily choices can make a big difference to your overall health and well-being. And when it comes to smoking, please quit before smoking quits you. Every cigarette increases the risk of cancer, heart disease, and lung disease. It's never too late to stop and start improving your health. Well, continuing with the show this morning, when conversations about crime and incarceration make headlines, they often focus on offenses, arrests, and statistics. Far less attention is given to the stories of rehabilitation, personal growth, and the opportunities that can help individuals rebuild their lives. One organization using sport as a vehicle for transformation is the Prison Service Football Club. Through football, mentorship, discipline, and teamwork, the club has provided opportunities for individuals to develop both on and off the field while supporting broader goals of rehabilitation and social integration. Well, reintegration, that should be. Joining us this morning are three men at the heart of that mission. We have joining us President of the Prison Service FC, Jude Gordon. We also have Prison Officer 2 of YTRC, that's Jason Aki, and also midfielder Ainsley Grisette. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here with me this morning. Now, firstly, to viewers who may not be familiar with the Prison Service Football Club, tell us about the vision behind the club and the role that it plays, beyond simply competing in football matches, because I know there's much more than that happening.
Yes, it is. Morning. Thanks again for allowing us to be on the program. Prison Service Football Club, we have been around since the 1970s. We are an entity from the prison service, and one of the goals of the club is to shine a better light on the prison service. Usually the public have a negative perception of what we do in terms of as prison officers, and we have said that the club is the vehicle to change that negative perception that Trinidad and Tobago society, and by extension the region, has of prison service. So we are using the tool of prison football. We are in the top tier of TNTFA, Trinidad and Tobago football, and we are using that vehicle to change lives. And we have in our midst here a resident of the YTRC, all right, Mr. Ainsley Grisette, who's a serious example of what we are doing.
Yeah. Now, many people see football as just a sport, but I know you all see it as a rehabilitation tool, as we've been discussing. So now, how specifically does being part of the structured football program really help, develop things like discipline, accountability, and life skills that you would need to carry on?
I'll let Mr. Grisette answer that.
Well, blessed morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I appreciate TTT News accepting us and myself. And moving forward, I will say it's not just a sport, it's also a motivation, an inspiration to positive life, to help you to stay focused and to achieve your goal and to always have your mind stable to where you want to achieve, because life not easy. And everybody goes watch it as a sport and you're just trying to prove a point. No, you're trying to better yourself and also better the younger ones who coming up to show them that we have a purpose, we find a purpose.
Now, I know that your story captured national attention. So looking back now on your journey, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced while trying to stay focused on your future during those years?
Failure. And now as I develop understanding and the discipline as well during this program and the journey, I understand failure is not an option. But I always used to believe in friends and thinking that if I do something, I will look bad. And not to say that I didn't have the support, but I always had the support from day one. It's just that the company keep the environment, there's promote a different kind of stigma. And moving forward is like we have to make the choice for ourselves. You can't let nobody make the choice for you. And that was one of my big problems. I used to depend on friends. And if I want to do good, it's like, nah. You in other words, I not to do that.
You don't deserve to do that.
I don't deserve to. I look and I can't, how to pay it? Like I am, but when I end up in a predicament afterwards, I say, same friends who was telling you this with them now. You know? And reality hit me. And there's a big aspect of life. Everybody watch expectation, but reality is this, you know? And it's not easy.
You've gone through such a period of transformation, like the other participants in all of this. What changes have you seen in the players who've come into the program, you know, and they're carrying difficult life experiences and all, maybe a lot of trauma as well, and they begin to find purpose through football and also camaraderie and mentorship?
So the young men and young women who are at YTRC and who are exposed to the various sporting disciplines, as well as the schooling that we provide there for them, and the other programs that tend to address whatever needs in terms of their rehabilitation that are required. We see that over time their participation has really aided in addressing some of the issues that they might have dealt with coming into the institution. Right. Sport being one of the major vehicles of that, because not only does it create discipline, but also create pathways for them upon leaving the institution, that they could get involved in clubs, even look at opportunities for entrepreneurship. In terms of Ainsley's situation, sport will become a career path for him in terms of providing income and opportunities for him to expand upon what he has already gotten from the institution.
Now, I know that there are some challenges that formerly incarcerated individuals often face, but one, as we spoke about, it's stigma. So that is a huge one. So how important is it now to create pathways where people who are, you know, judged by their current efforts, you want them to be judged by what they're doing now in this moment and not by the past?
I think leadership plays a very important part in that. Ainsley has been accepted by his peers, by the footballers, you know, and once we accept him, that's the image that we project when we go out there. You understand? He's not an incarcerated person. You understand? Yes, he's an incarcerated person, but he's one of us. He's one of the team, and that helps in his mindset. It also we look at him for what he brings to the club. You understand? Not his stigmatization of what he did before. You know, what he brings to the club to assist us in achieving our goal, which is a lot. You know, so he's respected for that. So in other words, what we do is that we don't see him as an incarcerated person. We see him as a strong individual and a strong link in that chain of Prison Service Football Club.
Now, how do you balance competitiveness and winning matches and all of that with the social mission of rehabilitation and reintegration? That's an interesting part that I'd like to know.
A lot of the young men and women who are at our institution, they don't see themselves as being, valued or worthy. And they tend to underestimate their potential. And when we place them in spaces in terms of competing with outside schools or clubs and stuff, they tend to shine. They tend to shine, and we who work with them, we know what they are capable of. So then we are always motivating, we're always giving those words of encouragement, we're always there with them. And I think when they do succeed, they see the value in what we have been saying out there, and they start to get or build confidence and get that confidence that, hey, this is not the end. This is not the end for me. Being incarcerated is not the end. But it could be a beginning for me. Right?
Now, Ainsley, coming back to you, I know that you made some history. You became the first resident from the YTRC to play in the Premier Football League.
Sure.
Now, I know you scored a debut as well. So what was going through your mind in that moment, just knowing everything that you've had to face and your entire journey to get to that point?
To be honest, at that moment, I watched life deep. You know, I say, what for you is and what kind of opportunities gifted to you, you know, and I always grateful and honored and appreciated that I gain these opportunities and this support, you know, and I give God praise first because without He, I wouldn't be here. You know, because it had many times I wanted to give up, and when I scored that goal, it's like my light shine much brighter, and I get more confidence in myself to score more. And I watch it as not just a team, you know, with family, unity, and I always believe unity is power. And I was real happy, to be honest with you, and confidence in myself, you know, and it was a big moment. Yeah.
Now, Ainsley, you spoke about your choices and your consequences and all of that. What message would you give this morning to a teenager who may be heading down a similar path to the one that you once found yourself on?
As I say before, to make failure option. God put humans here for a reason, and we not to get destroyed by no man, by no evil forces. And we have to find a purpose. And always remember that even though there was in the dark, like myself, and I in the light now, shining bright, improving every day, and staying humble and gifted, I would like to tell them that just find something what could benefit you, because the sky is the limit. Because if I could do it behind the fence, you could do it, and you out there. Because right now I grasping, I hungry for any opportunity right now, and I taking it and achieving it and holding on to it, because it benefited me and my brothers and younger ones and male or female in Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm willing to help and show them, because life is deep. You know, you can't let nobody doubt you, you know, judge you, underestimate you. Be you. And I being myself here today, and don't give up. And always put God first, no matter what. Always put God first. And the choice is yours. And any opportunity come to the young ones, the old ones, take it. Because it helping you live. It helping you survive. You know? So make it glory be a story.
Yeah. Make your glory be your story. Hopefully those words will continue to resonate with us today. You believe stories like Ainsley's can really help to shape and shift that national conversation now, you know, around rehabilitation and second chances. Because I feel like sometimes we find it hard as human beings to give second chances. And why is that conversation very important in Trinidad and Tobago today?
Based on the social environment right now, that, you know, crime is on the agenda, it's, you know, it's making media, it's everything like that. And, you know, as again, what we said is that, you know, the work that prison officers do, you know, it's unheralded. You know, it's unheralded. And, you know, seeing Ainsley, there are many other stories like Ainsley, you know. And why it's important is that prison needs support. You know, prison service football club needs support. And we had to big up now the Commissioner of Prisons, give him Mr. Carlos Carraspi. Yes, he's behind this venture, because you could have the greatest goals and the greatest ideals and the greatest vision, but if your leadership don't buy in, you understand, it'll just stay right there in your mind. So why it's important is that support to the prison service needs to be ramped up in terms of, you know, in terms of monies, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of resources, human, because there are many, many other stories like Ainsley. And if society is turning their back on these young people and they are frustrated, then what you're seeing making the news will be, you know, the commonplace. So we need to give prison that support. You know, there are 5 pillars in which we operate on: reintegrate, protect, correct, restore, and rehabilitate. And we are very serious in terms of what we do. Ainsley is a serious example of that. So give them the opportunity. So if there's anything I want to say is that give prisons that opportunity and we'll make it happen.
Now, if there's one thing you'd like the public to understand about all of this rehabilitation and redemption and second chances after this discussion that we had this morning, what would it be?
Persons sent to our institutions, basically society saying, listen, we have tried everything, we have given up on you all, we putting you all away, right? Based on whatever offense you might have committed. And we now, as Mr. Gordon just stated, we are given the opportunity to work with those persons, to give them the chance to have a opportunity to make amends for what they would have done. And we work towards that, and we are asking that society buys in, because these persons spend a certain amount of time with us and then they're back out. And a lot of them leave with the desire to give back. But once they re-enter, society has already painted them a certain way.
Stigmatization.
And they're not given the opportunity to redeem themselves. You know, so if there's anything that I would like to say, we must be willing to give, because it came from our community, it came from our society, and we have failed them, hence the reason that they're the position they're in. So when they return, we have to see ourselves as responsible in giving them that chance to redeem themselves.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much for joining us this morning. You know, ANC's journey really reminds us that while our choices may shape our circumstances, they really do not define our future forever. Well, thank you once again for talking all about the Prison Service FC with us on Trinidad and Tobago today. For all the stories that you see here and more, follow us at TTT Live online. If you have a story idea, a press release, or you want to collaborate with us, we'd love to hear from you. So simply send us an email at tttoday@ttt.co.tt and you can be a part of the conversation that's shaping our nation. Trinidad and Tobago Today news you can trust, stories that matter. News is up next.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
Whatever the skies bring, stay prepared with TTT weather. Committed, accurate, relevant.
There are a number of risk factors for heart disease, so a lot of attention has to be put towards preventive cardiology. What can we do to reduce the burden due to all these risk factors? Hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, need to stop cigarette smoking, you gotta get people exercising.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
If you miss any part of this show, sucks to be you. It's about that time. Hi, I'm Penny Gomez, and welcome to Pop. It's Wendy Fitzwilliams. Welcome to Pop. Oh my God, what majesty.
I'm new to Penny on point.
Peter Alliance. You don't know, guys, what it took to get him here. Sorry, stop. Food art? Food art.
I like can we speak Penny?
Sure. Whoa, I feel as if having both of you in here is just like atomic energy. Right. Yeah. Don't come up in here and change the rules of the competition.
Penny, block your ears a minute.
Okay.
She gave us limited input, but I just bad all the truth. You need people show. Big belly man do I walk.
You are both crazy. That's what this is determined. I feel as if we need like 2 episodes of pop to get through with these two.
Family were calling, so what? Just show them what I was doing. The right temperature.
If I had papers here, I'll just throw it all up and just let the show go to the dogs. I am just putting out a disclaimer there for whatever happens. I'm not responsible. Penny exits. Penny on point.
And Peter Poppin.
And Peter Poppin. Eyelashes.
Yeah.
There. All right.
Good morning. This is your CDC News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Raising public awareness and understanding of artificial intelligence and digital tools is a key objective of the Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence. Line Minister Dominic Smith says increasing public awareness will be key to the successful adoption of AI and other digital services across government ministries. While acknowledging that some citizens may be hesitant to embrace new technology, Minister Smith believes greater understanding of the benefits of these services offer will encourage wider acceptance.
People have not been very aware of the services that are available to them. So the first stage for the government and for the cabinet and for ministries is to really make citizens and the public sector aware of the many provisions that are provided. Naturally, there is anxiety surrounding technology in general, but once there's a consistent workflow and people understand what is the benefit to them and their lives and their families, I think the adoption rate will be a lot more expansive.
Members of the public attending the open house expressed cautious optimism about the growing role of artificial intelligence in government services. Attendee Maria Reverend said while she has reservations about AI, she was encouraged by the focus on promoting its responsible use.
I'm kind of anti-AI, but I'm kind of looking to see how they approach it, and I like the idea that their goal is to promote the responsible use of it.
Minister Smith is confident that as technology evolves, more citizens will be encouraged to engage with and benefit from government digital services. In other news, the Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Nicholas Morris, has called for enhanced collaboration across the Americas as the region faces increasing security, economic, and climate challenges. Speaking during a dialogue between permanent observers and heads of delegation as part of the 56th OAS General Assembly in Panama City on Tuesday, Minister Morris highlighted the scale and complexity of the challenges facing the hemisphere and the urgency of a unified response.
From transnational organized crime and security threats to economic uncertainty, democratic pressures, and the growing impacts of natural disasters, the challenges confronting our hemisphere make it clear that no country can effectively address these issues in isolation.
Mr. Morris also praised the role of permanent observers who are strategic partners of the OAS that follow and participate in the organization's activities, attend meetings of its political bodies, and provide cooperation for programs and projects throughout the hemisphere. He described them as essential partners in advancing the OAS agenda through funding, training, programs, and technical cooperation.
Tobago conveys its deep appreciation for the invaluable contributions that permanent observers continue to make to the work of this organization and to the advancement of our region. Through voluntary financial contributions, technical cooperation, professional training, scholarships, capacity building initiatives, and the sharing of expertise and best practices, permanent observers have become indispensable partners in supporting the OAS efforts across its 4 pillars.
He concluded by reaffirming Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to strengthening those partnerships and advancing long-term regional stability and prosperity. In sport, Portugal rebounded from a lackluster start to their FIFA World Cup campaign with a commanding 5-0 victory over Uzbekistan on Tuesday, which included 2 goals by captain Cristiano Ronaldo. A man-of-the-match performance by the 41-year-old Ronaldo saw him become the first player to score in 6 different World Cup tournaments. The victory gives Portugal 4 points in Group K. Colombia now has 6 points to lead the group after defeating DR Congo 1-0 on Tuesday night in Guadalajara. In other results, tournament favourites England were held to a 0-0 draw by Ghana that leaves both teams level in first and second on 4 points in Group L. And that's what's making the news at this time. Coming up after the break, it's hour number 2 of Trinidad and Tobago Today.
Rivalries, predictions, and bragging rights. Who are you backing? Who's already making excuses? And who do you think will lift the trophy? Join hosts Mariah Ramharak and Nasira Mohammed live on The Final VAR, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. as they discuss every controversy, every goal, and review every match from football's biggest stage, along with a panel of guests. The Final VAR, where the debate is as exciting as the game. Watch exclusively on TTT and stream on TTT Live online.
Since 1972, one sound has been living in the heart of Trinidad and Tobago, the longest running radio station in the nation.
We're your holiday soundtrack, whether it's on your day off, long drives, or house limes. We are always sweet.
This is music with meaning, music with memories.
Music that feels like home.
And it's not just the songs, it's the voices you trust, personalities you've grown with.
Laughter that sounds familiar. This isn't just radio, it's tradition. It's memories. It's part of who we are.
Sweet 100.1 FM, the rhythm of our identity, part of your family.
Always 100, guide you on your way. Sweet 100, sweet 100.
I'm Jamila Bannister, host of the Socially Safe podcast, the new TTPS podcast where we share real stories, teach real lessons, and create real impact. From online safety and youth crime to community policing and personal responsibility, we go beyond the headlines and talk about what's happening in our communities with the officers and experts who are on the front lines. Because safety starts with awareness, conversation, and action. Tune in to the Socially Safe podcast on the TTPS YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Don't miss it.
Watch on TTT, Mondays, 6 p.m., Tuesdays, 1:10 p.m.
My mind's so consumed with pain.
You're fired.
I need this job, man.
You need help.
I have other concerns for tenants who actually pay.
Miss.
So, how can I help?
I need a room. I got $40.
That's not enough. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's me. You okay? I need your help.
Welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago Today on TTT. While women continue to launch businesses, create jobs, and contribute significantly to economic growth, yet many still face challenges when it comes to accessing funding and scaling their enterprises. While conversations around financing often focus on external barriers, some experts believe there is another important factor that deserves attention: fundability. Now, fundability refers to how prepared and positioned a business is to attract investment, secure loans, and demonstrate long-term sustainability. It goes beyond having a great idea and looks at structure, financial performance, systems, and strategy. Well, joining me this morning is business strategist and founder of Zoma Business Solutions, Rhonda Maria Glenn. And through her work with entrepreneurs, particularly women-led businesses. She has developed frameworks and programs designed to help business owners become investment ready and build companies that are positioned for growth. Rhonda, good morning.
Good morning, Virmala. I love how you entered into talking about these systems, because at the end of the day, it is systems thinking. It is that.
Yeah.
And it's important that we understand the language of money, because investors, partners, VCs, grants, grant writers, partnerships, they all need to interpret the language of money in order for them to write those checks.
Yeah.
And if we do not understand how those numbers impact on our business story, then the only response they could give us is not yet.
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem.
You know, when we were off air, we were having this discussion about women and business and money and all of that. So I want to start here. I know I basically just chipped off a bit of the block by talking about fundability, but I want to hear it from you, the expert. What exactly is the term fundability and what does it mean for businesses?
I love that. Fundability is really a process. It is how you can strengthen your financial ask. So part of fundability is speaking the language that investors, partners will need, loan officers, bankers will need to use to interpret your risk level. Now, women are seen as risky, and as a consequence, they are offered loans that are less than what they actually need. So that's one problem. The other problem is that women talk themselves out of funding because they believe that a rejection of their loan application or their financial ask is a rejection of them. Neither of these things are true. What actually happens is that money is a language, and it's a language that we have to get good at, because you're not just a female business owner, you are a business owner who happens to be female.
Now, who is the Fundable Lab for?
The Fundable Lab is for two different sets of women. One, women who have been in a business 3 to 5 years, they've approached or crossed the break even, and now they're looking for money to scale. Now, many times women believe they could bootstrap themselves into the next level of their business. That's virtually impossible. You can never save enough money for capital goods. You can't. It just takes up too much of your time, and it becomes very frustrating. And the other thing that they do to compensate for that is that they believe that they will work harder, and that the funders will reward effort and passion and all these wonderful adjectives. No, they're not going to. So the women who have been rejected at least once and are fed up of being fed up, those are the women the Fundable Lab is for in the first instance. In the second instance, if you would notice, there are a lot of 50-plus women who are leaving corporate and pivoting into entrepreneurship. It's a very large demographic, not only for the Caribbean. The Caribbean is where I love this. I am a proud Trini. You see the outfit. Yeah. I'm always in red, white, and black. The women who are now carrying their corporate experience into entrepreneurship, and they're going to pivot. Those are the women who the Fundable Lab is really designed for.
Now, what change do you want to see right now, Rhonda?
I would love women to approach money from the perspective of a language that they have to learn. I'll use my own experience. When I was in UWI, I have a MSc. As I was telling you off camera, yes. I went back to school at 40. When I started, I had 4 O-levels. By the time I was 50, I had an associate, a bachelor's, and a master's degree, and I'm now in the process of completing a doctorate. Your life changes not by chance, it changes by choice. I would love to see more women accept the fact that this is the thing. This is the one thing that is standing in their way of moving this passion, this love, this dream that they have to the next level. So let me use the example of my own personal example. When I was in UWI, I failed accounting for business purposes 3 times. 3 times. Reason being that I had never done accounting at high school, at undergraduate, and now doing an MSc, I'm exposed to accounting for business purposes for the very first time. I used to be panicked in the classroom, and I failed 3 times. What helped me to get out of my own way is that I took my own self in hand and I got myself a tutor. So if the one reason why you are not accessing the funding that your business desperately needs, then you need to get out of your own way and say, you know what, I need help with this.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about the Power Circle. Who is the Power Circle for?
I love the Power Circle. When you start to talk to women about money, there's a lot of shame around money. I remember a woman saying she would prefer to show herself naked than to show her bank account, because there is a belief that money is above our heads, numbers above our heads. So I started the Power Circle with the intention of bringing women to the table, low impact, zero fear. Because entrepreneurship is very isolating, and when women find themselves between a rock and a hard place, they do isolate. And we believe that entrepreneurship is hard, and it is hard. But it's harder than it is supposed to be. So Power Circle is a free service that I offer. Women meet once a month. I've been doing it since September of 2025, where women meet once a month, and we talk about all things funding. What you want to do, what is the next level, what is the challenge that you've found yourself in. And usually inside of that space, inside of that circle, you will find women who are willing to help you, women who are willing to speak your name in rooms that you do not have access to, and women who will tell you it's all right for you to be afraid.
A lot of networking as well. And we can be our own best friends, and we really
could
help
also be our worst enemies.
Yeah. You know, when women hold the ladder for other women to, continue to climb to the top.
Because fundability is about you learning a language that you have never been exposed to. Because most of the time we start businesses as a side hustle. And then we start to believe that revenue and visibility, or revenue and fundability, are the same thing. They're not.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Rhonda. How can people get in touch with you if they want to continue a conversation about all of this?
Well, this weekend we do a 2-day intensive, which is the 27th and the 28th, when we are going to do an intervention. Women are going to bring their numbers. We're going to plug in the numbers, and we are going to run. This is what the Fundable Lab is about. The cost of it was $11.50. We dropped the price because of the economy, so it has gone down to $9.50. So women have the option this weekend, this might be the only time that they get it, where they can do the 2 days at $9.50, or they could do 1 day at $4.75.
All right, well, thank you very much. Her website is on the screen, so you can get more information there. That's rhondaglenn.com. Thank you, Rhonda,
Thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much.
What a wonderful conversation, women and business and money, and it's one that continues to inspire us, and it's not just about, finding investors or securing loans. It's also about creating something like financial security for the future and for our families as well. 7:17, that's the time. And sweet tea, hopefully your morning's great. The rain isn't affecting you too much on the roads. Seems like the traffic isn't too bad either, and hopefully I'm not jinxing that. We take a short break, and when we come back, there's more ahead.
Being connected, it means a lot, because first of all, you can't do this by yourself.
When you have your phone, you always have somebody at your side. I could call for help, anything going on,
I'm giving children the opportunity to experience outside of their neighborhood.
Digital is kind of a comfort, you feel good that people in your lives are always able to be contacted.
I was with the other network and I was having problems, so I joined Digicel, and I never regretted it.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
Your heart, brain, and body work hard every day. Give them the support they deserve with omega-3. Packed with essential fatty acids, omega-3 helps support heart health, brain function, and overall wellness. Whether you're staying active, focused, or simply living life to the fullest, live healthier with omega-3. Wellness that works from within. Tune in to Wellness Unlocked on TTT Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:45 a.m.
If you miss any part of this show, sucks to be you. It's about that time. Hi, I'm Penny Gomez, and welcome to Pop. It's Wendy Fitzwilliams. Welcome to Pop. Oh my God, what majesty.
I'm new to Penny on point.
Peter Alliance. You don't know, guys, what it took to get him here. Sorry, stop. Food on. Food on.
I like. Can we speak Penny?
Sure. Whoa, I feel as if having both of you in here is just like atomic energy. All right. Yeah. Don't come up in here and change the rules of the competition.
Penny, block your ears a minute.
Okay.
She gave us limited input. I just banned all the trophy in people show. big belly man do I know.
You are both crazy. That's what this is determined. I feel as if we need like 2 episodes of Pop to get through with these two.
Family were calling, so what this show them what I was doing. Right temperature.
If I had papers, I'll just throw it all up and just let the show go to the dogs. I am just putting out a disclaimer there for whatever happens. I'm not responsible. Penny exits.
Penny on point. And Peter Poppin.
And Peter Poppin. Eyelashes.
Yeah.
There. All right.
On Wednesdays, we're joined by the Camino Realty International team as we focus on a wide range of real estate topics to educate, support, and empower prospective homeowners throughout the property purchasing process. Good morning and welcome back to the Managing Director, Rachel Ramnall. Hey, Rachel.
Good morning.
It's good to have you back.
Yes.
You're a Wednesday staple for us.
Right?
Now, whether you're buying your first home, investing in real estate, or searching for the perfect family or property for, so not a family, but your perfect property for your family, you have the perfect family. Purchasing property is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make, and I'm sure you'll agree with that, Rachel. But how do you know now that you're making the right choice? And today, I really want to focus a little bit on what buyers should actually pay attention to when you are purchasing. So let's talk a little bit about that, Rachel.
Yeah, so, as we've been saying all along, a lot of people, the biggest misconception or oversight is that people fall in love with the property. So you'll look at a property and you'll say, okay, at face value, it looks great. But then, if you don't do the fundamentals, the checklist, so we created a quick checklist of about 6 questions that you want to ask yourself when you are looking at property before you sign an offer letter or before you enter into a purchase agreement,
Right, so that checklist is on the screen right now.
Yeah, and some of the questions would be like, is the location right? Is it within my budget? Does it fit within my lifestyle? Is the title okay? So all of these things we've kind of been touching on in the last couple of segments. And we're going to go into each of these a little bit, just briefly,
All right.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first one.
Yeah. So most times when you look at a real estate ad, you are going to see the phrase location, location, location. It has been ingrained, I feel, in like every single real estate person's head, So location remains king because at the end of the day, you want to make sure where you live in fits your lifestyle. So most things people look at is the distance to where they work. If they have kids, how far the school is. They want to know what are the peak traffic times. They want to know if it floods. And then location is not just about where you live right now, but you want to think about future. If you have to sell your property in the future, is the location going to be a deterrent to the next purchaser?
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
All right. So location. That's the first
That's the
tip.
first one. Always
So
location.
What about actually understanding what I can afford? I mean, what if I really like this, but okay, I'm not being realistic with myself. I just probably can't afford that. Or maybe I can afford even better. So what about that?
So just like we spoke about in mortgages before, people would look at the purchase price of your property, of the property that they're going to purchase. And they would think, well, okay, I can afford this. But then they forget all of the other costs. So you have like your legal costs, you have your closing costs, you have your bank fees, you have property taxes, you have to pay insurance for the property as well as yourself. You have to look at utilities. So staying within your budget is another key aspect when looking for property. Make sure to factor in all of those extra costs to make sure that you don't put yourself in financial strain, because at the end of the day, you are purchasing property to enhance your life, not to put you in that financial strain position.
Yeah. No, what if I just see a property and I really love it and I'm like, okay, this is what I want. I'm not worrying about what the condition of anything is like. So maybe there's a rotting wall or the roof is about to cave in, but I didn't check all of that.
Yeah, that's a no-no. So we don't do that. So before you sign an offer letter, you know, like how you have red flags with people, you have red flags with properties. So you have to do an inspection. Look at the property. Even though I've only been in the real estate industry for a short period of time in, the grand scheme of things, sometimes when we go to properties, I could look at a property and say, well, okay, this is a hairline crack, this is a structural, you have
an eye for it now.
You have an eye for it. Now, at the end of the day, remember, I am not an engineer.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how to fix it, but I can tell you, maybe you should get that crack checked,
Okay. Yeah. And things like drainage as well, I'm seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
That can come back to haunt you, or just rear its ugly head a little later on after you're well settled into the home.
Correct. Because again, if you're looking at something at face value, you might think, well, okay, there are no issues with it. But then when you do a little bit more investigation, you might see additional problems arising.
Now, what about the legality of everything?
Right.
So I have to make sure that this is a legal process and everything is in place for this purchase.
Yeah. So just like how we spoke about making sure your title is verified, making sure that the person you are purchasing from is in fact the legal owner of the property. All of those things are important, again, before you enter into any agreement. Because remember, the agreement ties you in. You pay a deposit. You are locked in at that point. So, you want to make sure you do these little checks and balances before you decide and say, well, okay, let me put down this down payment. Let me start the sale process. And again, going back to when we spoke about valuations and surveys, making sure the property is within its legal boundaries, making sure there are no existing mortgages, and of course, as of right now, if the property was built in the last 4 years, you want to make sure you have your completion certificates or your Town and Country and Regional Corporation approvals.
And then, at the end of it all, what if I don't like this home anymore, or I want to migrate, or I outgrow this home, I want to sell it? I have to pay attention to the resale value.
Right, because again, when we purchase, we don't want to think about present only. You want to think about long term. You want to think about how the property fits within your lifestyle. You want to look at resale value. So all of those things we spoke about before, like the location, making sure you're purchasing within your budget. Of course, when you sell it over, you want to get, most likely, property prices increase, the value increase over time, right? You want to take factors into consideration, such as other projects that might be going on, other developments that could hamper, the valuation of your property. And then, of course, there's the demand for housing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, a property may look perfect on paper, but it mightn't suit my lifestyle. So I also need to consider if this really fits what I want this property for, or my family, or how busy I am.
Yeah. So when you are looking for property, let's say it's a recently married couple. Of course, most times the plan is to have kids, so you're not gonna buy a 1-bedroom. You might buy a 2-bedroom because, again, you're planning for the future. You want to look at things like your parking space, your yard space. You want to make sure, if you work from home, for example, you want to make sure that the property you are purchasing, obviously you're not going to purchase a property close to a construction site if you're working from home. You want to look for somewhere quiet, somewhere that really fits your needs. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that, Rachel. Buying property is not just a financial decision, but it's also a lifestyle decision. It's one that will, determine the rest of your life, if you're going to stay there, if you have children, if lots of moving parts in life, and you need to consider all of that. Well, any closing comments before we wrap it up?
I would just like to say, keep your checklist handy, keep your buyer's checklist handy. Once you have all of those key points, and you ask yourself those questions, I think you should be fine. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rachel, for joining us today, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yes, definitely. We just also want to say the JMMB event that was supposed to take place on Friday, 26th of June, has been postponed. So, of course, we'll keep you guys posted on when that event is taking place.
You can check out their social media as well. The email is on the screen as usual. Camino Realty International team, we do this every Wednesday on Trinidad and Tobago Today. When we come back, we get ready to link up with Talk City 91.1 FM.
Attention viewers in Trinidad and Tobago. The Truth of God now airs on the TTT network every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You won't want to miss the dynamic preaching of Pastor Jennings as he speaks from God's Holy Bible. The Truth of God, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the TTT network.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
If you miss any part of this show, sucks to be you. It's about that time. Hi, I'm Penny Gomez, and welcome to Pop. It's Wendy Fitzwilliams. Welcome to Pop. Oh my God, what majesty.
I'm new to Penny on point.
Peter Alliance. You don't know, guys, what it took to get him here. Sorry, stop. Food art? Food art.
I like. Can we speak Penny?
Sure. Whoa, I feel as if having both of you in here is just like atomic energy. All right. Yeah. Don't come up in here and change the rules of the competition.
Penny, block your ears a minute.
Okay.
She gave us limited input. I just bad all the truth. Any people show? Big belly man do have a war.
You are both crazy. That's what this is determined. I feel as if we need like 2 episodes of Pop to get through with these two.
My family were calling, so what to show them what I was doing. Right temperature.
If I had papers, I'll just throw it all up and just let the show go to the dogs. I am just putting out a disclaimer there for whatever happens. I'm not responsible. Penny exits. Penny on point.
And Peter Poppin.
And Peter Poppin. Eyelashes.
Yeah.
There. All right.
I'm Jamila Bannister, host of the Socially Safe podcast, the new TTPS podcast where we share real stories, teach real lessons, and create real impact. From online safety and youth crime to community policing and personal responsibility, we go beyond the headlines and talk about what's happening in our communities with the officers and experts who are on the front lines. Because safety starts with awareness, conversation, and action. Tune in to the Socially Safe podcast on the TTPS YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Don't miss it.
Watch on TTT, Mondays 6 p.m., Tuesdays 1:10 p.m.
You're dressed for talk. This is the Link Up. This is the Link Up with Talk City 91.1 FM.
Well, you know, on Wednesdays, we also link up with Andy and Lennox on Talk City 91.1 FM. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Virmala. A pleasant good morning to you and your big audience on Trinidad and Tobago today. Oh boy, I'm feeling good. And now letting Lennox know is I taught him to call your name proper, Virmala. I wanted to know what kind of
was Lennox
big
saying before?
Englishman, and he didn't use to call it good at all. But Lennox
He
Smith,
can't say, and neither me.
Lennox, I thought you knew my name, Lennox. This hurts my feelings.
Of course I did, but you know, sometimes hearing and what the vocal cords will produce consequential of maybe some kind of mental, I wouldn't say dysfunction, but certainly mistake. Let me put it that way. But
you know what I didn't get from you in a while, Lennox, a word of the day. Do you have one for me?
Yes, certainly. I would say comprehension.
Very much needed right now.
Yeah. Right now.
An absolute necessity. But for those who aren't familiar with the word, can you please give them a quick breakdown of that word?
It means, of course, what you perceive something to be as perceive. You ask me to break down perceive now.
Andy, what is happening with Lennox this morning?
Simply put.
Is it the rain? Andy, is it the rain that has Lennox this feisty this morning?
I want to believe it's you.
Why
but
do
Lennox,
I get the blame?
Well, boy, as Director Snipes mentioned, well, you know, we have to go with the link up now. Yes, with Virmala. I say, watch her. I say, I teach her to pronounce her name good.
Well, you know, some people have impacts and influence on some people in ways that others may not.
I will
let me
take
put it
that.
this way and leave it open.
I will really take that, gentlemen. I appreciate that. You know, I really wanted to ask you, how was the weather situation for you last night? Did you get a lot of rest because of the rain? And how was your drive here this morning?
Yeah, well, the drive, the rest, all those things, the weather situation, not bad. Because when I watch all over the highways and all them thing there, you're seeing where all the rivers and thing cleaning, and so I must say hats off to the Ministry of Works and Transport, the Honourable Jolene John, for taking in front in this rainy season here by cleaning all those drainage and them in front. But one of the things that I would have loved to want to touch on quick, and on the next link up, we will be able to elaborate on it a little bit, is the issue of NIS pension, your private pension, which your NIS pension is something you contributed to. Your private pension is something you contribute to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the senior citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. And I ain't reached there yet, so I'm advocating for myself from now. We contributed to that, and we want that the present government fix that situation, whereby when we do not reach the age for our
the national pension,
which is $3,500, they're watching we pocket. They're telling me they can't give you the 35 because you're getting money in the NIS so, and you have a private pension so, and that kind of thing. And when my colleague tell me it have a cap, some cap, I say no, that the system is a system.
Where you may have to be taxed or not taxed, as the case may be.
Yeah, it's about formula.
And a formula, yes.
And that is the formula you're using. So I'm stating that formula is a bandit formula. It's a thieving formula. When it comes to the senior citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and you and all Virmala at a point in time will have to get your senior citizens pension. All of us,
Andy,
the director here, everybody.
I know this is so serious, but I'm kind of rebuking you here. I mean, like, I have a very long way to go before that, Andy. I mean,
That's true.
I just in like 20-something. I mean, it's a long way to go, guys.
Right, but I would like, when you do reach there, which is a very long way,
absolutely.
That if you have your NIS, you get all your money, you pay for your private pension, you get all your money, and when you do reach your 65, you want your whole 3,500, it might be more by then, it might be 4,000, you want all your money.
All right. Yeah, all your money. You hear that, Lennox? We want all the money. Guys,
it makes a lot of sense. That has been the argument. And to get these artificial formulae to reduce or to take away from, as my colleague would say, it's a bandit formula because it attempts to generate a kind of larceny of what you are entitled to. That being as it may, of course, I too have a issue with respect, of course, to the report coming out of the United Kingdom, where they said that there is some 186 gangs in Trinidad and Tobago, and that has contributed to a third of the murders in Trinidad, and therefore it justifies the fact that they have imposed visa restrictions on Trinbagonians. I just wanted to know, because for me, it would have impact on investments opportunity, because that is on top of the advisories that come out of these metropolitan countries and capital investment.
Gentlemen, that's actually a conversation that we may be having a little bit later on this week on Trinidad and Tobago Today. But now I have to say goodbye. I love joining you both, but I have to bid you farewell until next week. I'll see you again. Thank you for linking up with me.
Beautiful.
All right, have a good day. That's Annie and Lennox. That was a link up on Talk City 91.1 FM.
It's unfiltered, y'all.
Unmatched.
Unscripted.
Your dress for talk. This is the link up. With Talk City 91.1 FM.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
The plays that shake the arenas. The stories that move a nation. From football to cricket, track to tennis, every win, every rivalry, every headline. This is where Trinidad and Tobago come for sports.
TTT Sports with Nasira Mohammed, daily at 7 p.m.
What if possibility was only the beginning? Welcome to Limitless, a journey where ideas become action and action becomes impact. From breaking barriers and challenging misconceptions to designing with dignity and driving innovation with heart. This series explores how inclusion is moving from concept to community in Trinidad and Tobago. Across each episode, we meet the change makers and everyday leaders, turning challenges into opportunity, building real solutions that change real lives, from possibility to impact. This is Limitless.
A group of young entrepreneurs from Trinidad and Tobago recently returned from the United States, and they did this after participating in the Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative, a U.S. Department of State program focused on entrepreneurship, leadership, and business development. Well, over the course of several weeks, they engaged with industry leaders, built international networks, and they gained really valuable insights that they are now bringing back to their businesses and communities here at home. Well, joining us this morning, we have the members of the 2026 cohort, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, so a quick introduction and maybe the business that you represent.
Hi, good morning. My name is Desiree Johnson Phillip, and I'm the founder and CEO of Leading Seedling and Exotic Plants Limited.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sharisa Khan, CEO and founder of Vortex Sensations Distribution Limited and the Arima District Limited.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Naomi Anderson, and I am the owner and pastry chef at Unicakery.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donna Miraj, and I am the founder of Mood TT by AC.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Ramjatan, and I'm the founder and managing director of RBR, Ramjatan's AV and IT Services Limited.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic Alexander, and I'm the founder of the Lordham Conservatory of the Arts and Music. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kadala Isaac, and I'm the owner of Janella Isaac Luxury Handbags.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. Looking lovely, and congratulations on all your success so far. Now, the program took you from Trinidad and Tobago to the United States for more than a month. A great time, I can only imagine, was had. So what were your expectations going in? Feel free, anyone. And how did that experience compare with what you actually imagined?
Take this one. So for me, I went in hoping to scale and expand, but what I came back with is a lot more confidence, a greater outlook on my business, and basically a whole new outlook on different ways that we could help the community, because my business, we work a lot with the community, and that is one of the strong points in the Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative. And I was really happy to work with other entrepreneurs who have the same goals as myself.
Yeah. Now, one of the key components of the Young Leaders is actually being placed within an American business organization. Again, a tremendous opportunity. Can I hear about the lessons maybe that you all learned from having that hands-on experience?
Sure. So for me, I would have gone to San Francisco, California, which is basically the innovation center in the world. And my experience has been heavily based in AI integrations and data-driven results in terms of business, using data to drive your business. And that was such an exceptional takeaway, and it's exceeded what I expected to get from there.
All right. And you, sir?
I would say the same. and I went to Kansas City. My FPO was a NGO called the Harmony Project, and what they do is that they create free music education for entrepreneur, for kids. And so we would have learned their systems, we would have learned all their habits, the things that they would have used, and we're going to introduce or integrate that into our programs.
I was just going to ask you that. Have you seen where you can actually integrate them?
Yes. So we work with a lot of neurodiverse children, and so what we're launching soon is a foundation with that intent to be able to create free music education for neurodiverse children and underprivileged children. Trinidad is a beautiful country, and but there is just not that there isn't talent, there isn't access. And so we want to create more access by connecting with companies and getting them to add value. Yeah.
Now, entrepreneurship can actually feel isolating. So sometimes you feel like you're doing this journey alone. And I know that you probably connected with a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. So how was that networking experience, and what are some of the lessons that you've learned?
So for me, I actually went into YLI with the intentions of connecting with a lot of like-minded entrepreneurs, especially within the same age group as well. You find like when you're on the journey, specifically for me, when I really started to like lock in and work on my business, Unique Cakery, I teach baking classes. It became a very isolating kind of journey because you're working so hard, you don't really have much time for anything else. And then our culture here is like, sometimes you don't always feel as warm to open up to others. But when you go there, and even connecting with everyone here, when you go there, it's like you actually get to meet people who are on the same path as you. Sometimes you think that you're going through like a lot of these things alone, but no, like there's so many other people that is in the same place as you, and it was just so great to like connect with other people who can relate and are on the same journey as you as well.
So was there a particular moment during the program that really changed the way that you think about business and the way you've been doing business as well?
Definitely. So I was placed in Phoenix, Arizona, which is a 3 hours time difference to Trinidad. So while being there managing my own company in Trinidad too, it took a lot out of me. But I was actually able to work with a company and the owner directly of that said company. And it's actually a co-working environment whereby they have a lot of entrepreneurs coming in and actually working and doing their business there. I was able to visit a university in Grand Canyon whereby I saw students of the university actually operating their business out of the university. And I mean, it's an amazing thing. And now there's an U.S. exchange outbound program where my company that I work with, they actually returning to Trinidad, which they have never heard of before. They have never even heard of Trinidad. And I took stuff to them, and I had to do a lot of, informing them of what Trinidad is like and letting them know our music. And it's so amazing. It's so different. And up to last night, we were on a call, and they will be in Trinidad soon.
Lifelong partnerships. Now, you're in a leadership position with your company, right? So how has your understanding of leadership actually changed after this experience?
For me, leadership is not knowing it all, but it's actually being able to help people, mentor them, motivate them. And in my entire life and my journey, I've been doing that. And YLI allowed me, Young Leaders of America's Association allowed me to actually improve on that.
Yeah.
So since I returned, I have a lot of young people reaching out to me. And my mandate is to inform more young people of this program, make it public knowledge, and allow people to have the same experience that I had.
Yeah, and to impact lives.
Definitely.
Now, many young people often have, ideas, but they're very nervous to take that first step into entrepreneurship. And you're all sitting here shining lights, examples of people who actually took that leap of faith and said, I'm going to do this. What would you say to someone who has the vision, but they're lacking, that confidence, that extra push to actually go into the realm of entrepreneurship?
I think that the first thing you need to do is have God to the center of everything. I think that He has been my guiding force, and I think every one of us in different ways would feel the same way. In addition to that, a support system is so important. I think sometimes, yes, we know that entrepreneurship could be a very lonely road, but what this initiative with YLI had opened up to me was able to show me that, listen, there's so many avenues, there's so many revenue streams, there's so many ways that you could do things, and it's okay to reach out to somebody and hear no. No doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be forever, but we have to have that little confidence in ourselves, as small as a mustard seed, and with that, push forward, man.
And now that you've returned home, what are some of the specific changes or plans that you have now to implement in your business or your communities?
So for me, I started branching out into 5Ks. The 5K community is exploding in Trinidad.
Yeah.
So we've started marketing through the 5Ks. We actually have one on Sunday. And so we manufacture cosmetics. So we are starting formulation classes. We work with the Entrepreneurship Hub of Trinidad and Tobago. So we do entrepreneurship teachings. So we really looking to scale and expand in that direction and also focus a lot more on marketing, because I realized throughout the program, a lot of the businesses that are succeeding focus a lot on marketing, and I feel like that was a weak spot for me. So that is something I'm going to be touching on a lot more.
Yeah. Now, looking ahead, what does success look like for you over the next few years, and how has this Youth Leader program really helped to shape that vision?
So out of the Young Leaders of the America Initiative program, we have all since started talking about collaborating with each other and expanding on what we've learned, as well as implementing certain things into our businesses and also partnering with each other. So you're going to see a lot more of us.
Yeah. And I'm sure, again, as I said, the friendships and the business contacts and networking was such a good experience. But most importantly, did you have fun?
Yes.
I just want to say that I was in New Orleans, and New Orleans
a dream.
Was absolutely amazing.
And for me in fashion, I was able to attend one of the San Francisco Met Gala watch parties, and that was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I was able to dress, like one of the stars. So it was just great collaborating with the stylists and they there and the fashion community and seeing just what they do out there and just having those lifelong friendships after.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of events, a lot of food. So many numbers on your contact list now, and you're like, where do I know this person from? So what would you say to future cohorts, or people maybe thinking about joining this program?
Honestly, I think that the most important thing to do when you're dealing with Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative is go in it with an open mind. So, for instance, with my entire journey, when we first got placed with organizations, I didn't have a placement. And literally a couple of days before we traveled, I got placed with the Crazy Plant Bee, which is a plant and a farm in New Orleans. And the entire experience, I think, was very mind-blowing for me, because she introduced me to so many things. Right now, we're expanding into Tobago, and it's a journey. So I think that open-mindedness is very important in entrepreneurship in general, but with this program, don't go thinking about anything. Just be open and talk.
Just be open and talk. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sharing your experiences. A reminder that entrepreneurship is not only about building successful businesses, it's also about building connections, creating opportunities, and solving problems, and contributing to the development of our communities and our country. This is where we say thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow, 6 to 8, where we do this all over again. Thanks to all our guests for joining us today on Trinidad and Tobago Today. We'll see you tomorrow, as I said, where we'll do it all over again. Please be safe on the nation's roads. Bye-bye.
Being connected, it means a lot, because first of all, you can't do this by yourself.
When you have your phone, you always have somebody at your side. I could call for help, anything going like,
I'm giving children the opportunity to experience outside of their neighborhood.
Digital is kind of a comfort, you feel good that people in your lives are always able to be contacted.
I was with the other network and I was having problems, so I joined Digicel, and I never regretted it.
TTT Weather with Zaina James, daily at 7 p.m.
I'm Renee Sion with another edition of Caribbean Week in Review. everybody, I am Leah.
And I'm Dion.
And we are the Duncans. Listen, we're here to tell you about a project the Lord has given to us called the Marriage Confessional. It is geared toward married couples, those that are on the road to marriage, and those that want to get married one day.
So join us on TTT and on Facebook and YouTube at TTT Live Online.
The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Good morning. This is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. The reported resignation of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has sparked widespread discussion and speculation, both within the United Kingdom and internationally. Political scientist Professor Hamid Ghani notes that a combination of political, economic, and internal party pressures may have contributed to this development. He suggests that growing public expectations, policy challenges, and shifting dynamics within the governing party could all be key factors shaping the situation.
The new government, their new term in July. They won on the 4th of July, and 3 weeks into the term of office, they announced that the winter fuel subsidies, for pensioners and so on, was going to be withdrawn. I mean, that was an unforced error. It caused a large amount of controversy in the public domain. The party had suddenly made an error that it really didn't need to make, and I think it started a spiral from there.
The professor added that another setback came with the appointment of an ambassador, which further complicated the situation and contributed to mounting pressure on the leadership.
The big issue that really hurt his government was his nomination of Lord Peter Mandelson to become the ambassador to Washington. And it has now emerged that there were all kinds of cutting of corners in terms of how the security vetting was to take place. And then his identification with the Epstein files and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein became hugely embarrassing for the Prime Minister.
Outside of this, Professor Ghani notes that England's once dominant two-party system has become increasingly fragmented, with several parties now firmly positioned across both the right and left. He emphasizes, however, that political survival ultimately depends on one key factor: delivering on promises and maintaining the trust of the electorate. In other news, more than 90,000 public servants work each day to keep Trinidad and Tobago functioning, providing vital services in areas such as healthcare, education, national security, and technology. The Ministry of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence joined the international community in observing United Nations Public Service Day and Public Service Week, recognizing the dedication and contributions of these workers. Minister of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence, Dominic Smith, pointed out that these workers continue to play a critical role in driving Trinidad and Tobago's development and delivering essential services to citizens.
Public Service Day is an opportunity to reflect on the dedication, resilience, and professionalism of thousands of public officers who work tirelessly every day in service to our nation. I think the number is about 90,000 plus public servants that get up every day and hopefully come to work on time towards building a stronger nation. And this happens in healthcare, in education, national security, social services, infrastructure, finance, technology, administration.
The Tobago House of Assembly was also represented at the event. Director of Youth Development at the THA, Anne-Marie Degazon, said Public Service Week is a chance to recognize all public servants, especially those whose efforts often go unnoticed.
You will interact with in our booth today are public officers. And so each year we also recognize them in Tobago. This year we are focusing particularly on our daily paid officers. The ones who work, in the trenches that we don't normally see. Those who, clean the road and all of that.
As Public Service Week continues, Minister Smith is encouraging citizens to engage with government agencies and learn more about available services, while recognizing the contributions of public servants who help keep the nation running every day. And in some sport, after a flawless start in the opening 3 matches of the ICC T20 Women's World Cup, the West Indies, who sit second in Group 2, took to secure their spot in the semi-finals with a victory later today when they face off against tournament hosts England. Ahead of the match, carded to begin at 1:30 TT time, bowler Karishma Ramarak stated that the fixture held at Lord's Cricket Ground will be a massive occasion for her team.
It's going to be a really big game. I think, what we could do is control what we can do as a team, plan well, prepare well, and, just on the day execute as best as we can. But of course, we're looking forward to, the atmosphere, playing at Lord's. It's going to be a huge thing for the West Indies women.
And that was your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. On behalf of all of us here, have a great day.
Your news, anytime, anywhere. Join us nightly at 7. TTT News. Committed, accurate, relevant.